Oh, there we go. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur. Welcome to a very random Saturday night live stream. This is October 31st, 2020, aka Halloween night, aka pandemic. Like, I have never had a Halloween during a pandemic before, and I kind of figured I would share my thoughts on this. Actually, this was also kind of inspired by a uh, a post that I did on Facebook. Feelings on Halloween in 2020. Hey, Mark, how are you doing? So anyway, I would have to say that out of all the Halloweens I've celebrated in my life, and there's been quite a few that I have lived through, I would say this is probably the best Halloween I've ever lived through. Truly, the best Halloween ever. And the reason, and I shared this on my Facebook page, which just to give everyone a heads up, no, watch me on YouTube does not mean we're not gonna be friends on Facebook. That's not how this works. Just putting that out there. But I wrote on Facebook, not a single doorbell rang tonight. No trick or treaters. So that's another good thing that happened in 2020. And then I said, P.S. Yes, I know I'm a Halloween Grinch. I don't. Halloween is such a stupid holiday. Now, one of my actual friends who I know replied and seemed to completely miss the point of this post. This year is spooky enough already, which it's like, no, that's not what's going on. What's going on is that I don't like Halloween. I have never, ever liked Halloween. To me, Halloween has always been nothing but an inconvenience to me. And so, for the first time in as long as I can remember, I have not had to really deal with it. I have not had to really deal with it. Me and my wife were able to watch some movies, some Alfred Hitchcock, play some Kingdom Hearts 3, and we didn't have a single doorbell ring. Now, there was one brief moment where I went to get some food, brought it home, got out of the car, started walking to the front of my door, and one kid with her mother came to the house. Kid, of course, walks up and holds out her bag and says, "Trick or treat." And I said, "There's no candy here, and you should stay home. We're in a pandemic." They're like, chided me. Like, what a horrible thing to say to a child. Like, what? Are you trying to scare her? And I looked at the mother and said, yes, for two reasons. One, it's Halloween. I thought that was kind of the idea behind Halloween, you scare kids. And two, it's true, and there's a lot of people dying, so maybe getting some candy door to door, maybe that's not worth getting sick and dying over. So aside from that, though, nobody rang the doorbell, nobody knocked, and we were able to have it peace and quiet to ourselves. Now, some of you at this point might even be asking, okay, Kevin, now we have to worry. Like, what is your big beef with Halloween? Well, there's a couple I really don't like and why I have never fully gotten into it. The first thing is that I've never enjoyed this whole dressing up thing. Never enjoyed dressing up. I mean, here's the thing. Do you see me as someone who wants to go through the hassle of getting dressed up, walking door to door, begging people for candy? Do I look like that kind of person? Walk around in a silly hat or something? Don't answer that. But anyway, that's kind of thing. I've never gotten into the whole, dressing up thing. Secondly, I've lost my taste for Halloween pretty early in my life. I lost my taste for Halloween when I realized that with Halloween, you got dressed up, you went door to door, you did all this walking, all this work for candy, a bag of candy. And if I just waited the next morning, I could go to the store and buy a bag of candy that was bigger than the candy bags that I filled up for $2. And it would be something that I know I would So, because here's the thing, once you not only have to dress up and you have to go door to door and you have to spend hours getting the candy, then you got to have your parents check the candy to make sure it's safe. And then, sorry, you have to spread it on the ground. And I know a lot of people love this growing up. They would go through the candy and they would pick their favorites and they would take out the candies that they don't like. You know, I always got annoyed when I had to take out the candies that I didn't like, because it's like that's basically okay. So that's one house that was every time I throw like a piece of candy away, it's like okay, that's one house that was a waste to go to. There's another house that was a waste going to. So I never really got into it. And once I realized that, hey, you know what? The stores are going to sell the candy much, much cheaper the next day, and I don't have to go through the hassle of actually getting it. Well, then guess what? There you go. Never liked it at that point. And if there's like an unofficial third reason, I think it's a little embarrassing for adults to be doing this. And it's probably because I don't drink. I think Halloween has kind of been used as an excuse by older people to basically get drunk. And if this is you and you enjoy doing this, you know what? Hey, no judgment, I suppose, but I suppose, yeah, I guess there's a little bit of judgment. I don't know. I'm sorry, folks, but I don't drink. I don't drink. So there is absolutely no reason for me to celebrate it as an adult. There was a reason that when Uber was brand new, I would be spending Halloween nights Ubering because, you know, for a while, Halloween was like second only to New Year's Eve. Everybody was calling Ubers on Halloween night. And so I would make some money. And every time someone would get in the car, they would say, "Oh, I feel so bad for you. You're working on Halloween night." And I was always like, "Guys, no offense. I don't like Halloween, so I'm more than happy to get you home." Nowadays, as Uberman Tampa pointed out, Halloween is a joke. But then Uber and Lyft are a joke. And I know there's a few people out there that do make good money doing this, but they're few and far between. And most of the time, the hours are way more than what any sane person would do. So, you know. Anyway, so you take all that into account. You know, never liked the whole dressing up thing. Always felt you could get the candy cheap. So yeah, I have never liked Halloween. And then just to add insult to injury, when I stopped driving for Uber, I would like to spend Halloween as any other night because it's not like it's a holiday or anything. You still have to, well, at least nowadays, like, you know, I have to get up for work the next day. You know, who wants to be trying to go to bed early and just relax? Have the and buying candies for what? What? Why am I? Why is this a big deal? I mean, no, you do not get. You do not deserve candy just because you decide to dress up as Jar Jar Binks. In fact, if anything, maybe you should be giving me candy for that. So, you know, um, come on, Ruby and Tampa, you're asking me. I think I'm honestly gonna say that live on the internet. No, no, I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna do that. um, but yeah. So anyway, I've never. It was really nice to have a night where it's like it's Halloween to just have the crap annoyed out of me, and nobody, not a single doorbell, not not a single doorbell. Although I do like the idea that because hopefully you guys will appreciate the joke. On Facebook, I know someone who's like a severe anti-masker, complains 2 or 3 times a day on Facebook about masks. Like, really. And of course, the best thing to do when you see people saying things on Facebook that are stupid or you just don't agree with them, just don't. It's just best not to get into a tiff. But because Governor Gavin Newsom recommended that Halloween be canceled, that you don't go door to door, this person, along with some of her friends, decided they were going to go to the state capitol to protest Halloween being canceled. And they said, remember, costumes on and wear the scariest masks you can find. I couldn't resist. I had to reply. I'm so glad to see you're finally coming around to the mask thing, which she then promptly blocked me, which is fine because, I don't really want to be reading her posts anyway. So, anyway, um, yeah. So, in my opinion, Halloween 2020 is, for me, the best Halloween ever because basically nobody bothered me. Nobody bothered me. There were no doorbell ringings. And even when I drove out to get some food for the night, I noticed there weren't many people out and about. So it seems like a lot of people are actually taking it seriously. So, you know, uh, Abstract Echo said, well, let's not underestimate a hot gal in a Playboy bunny or sexy devil costume. That's why well, I mean, Abstract Echo, with all due respect, you can find those pictures online. Like, or if you go to if you live in Vegas, what's your excuse then? I'm not saying you live in Vegas, but it's like, yeah, you go to Vegas and there's women dressed certain ways everywhere. So, once you see that, it's like, meh. So, I don't know. And plus, I'm married. My wife's all I need at this point. So, anyway, I see there's 9 of you joining us at this. Oh, geez, my audience surely dipped. Actually, it's because it's like 10:30 at night and nobody's up. But anyway, yeah, whoever's here, if you want to give a thumbs up, please do. That would be very helpful. So, Uberman Tampa said, your governor also made rules for your own house that you can't have any more than 3 people at Thanksgiving. Well, in all fairness, with the way that I consider that to be like a good excuse to not have obnoxious family members over, don't you? It's like, oh, we'd celebrate Halloween, and yeah, I'd love my wonderful rude law and her actually pretty nice boyfriend to come on over with, you know, no, I'd love to have you guys over, but governor says health mandate, only 3 people, and we've got the other sister-in-law and her husband who don't treat me like crap. So, you know, anyway, but that's my thought on it. That's what I'm seeing it as. Kind of an excuse to get out of family gatherings, if you will. Um, but I will be spending Christmas Day with my parents, mainly because how should I put this? I love my parents. They're being safe, and that'll be 4 of us, so that's not too bad. Now, I will say that our governor didn't act mandate that you have to have less than 3 people. That's just a recommendation with which the way the cases are rising, probably a good recommendation. But anyway, is Tenet your favorite film of 2020? No, no. Uh, the 2 films vying for the best film of 2020 is The Social Dilemma and The Trial of the Chicago 7. And I've heard really good things about Mank, and I can't wait to see Mank. So, you know, if the police come around at Christmas, hide someone in the closet. The police won't do that. They've got better things to do with their time. The police, frankly, even during a pandemic, they don't care. In your house, you have too many people, but it would have to be obvious it was a lot of people. If it's just like they're not going to go door to door and say, "Yeah, we just want to make sure there's only 3 people," they're not going to do that. They've got better things to do. After just be sure to bring up politics or religion at Thanksgiving dinner. That will save you money on buying Christmas presents. Well, we're already going to cut back on the Christmas presents this year, so that's not going to be an issue. 4 likes and 4 dislikes, 50-50. Is it wrong for me to give myself a like? Probably. I won't do that. Anyway, thanks for letting me know. I also really enjoyed the tour of your house that was uploaded on Katie's channel. Yeah, that was for something else. That's why it's on her channel. But we'll probably make it a Patreon exclusive video for, and for the YouTube members and Patreon members. So, Jody says Mulan not going to theaters is a big mistake for Disney. Oh yeah, they lost money. I mean, they hey, they felt like they wanted to try to see if they could make a go of it, selling a movie direct on demand, and they took a bath on it. They took a huge bath on it. Now, they probably would have taken a bath anyway had it been released in theaters, but here's the thing: you would have been investing in the future of your your industry. I mean, everyone keeps saying like, "Hey, it's going digital. It's all going digital. That's the future." And it's like, well, no, it's not. And if anything, it's because every single PVOD release that this year, except for one movie, all lost money. Trolls, I mean, for as much as they bragged, oh, we made $100 million in the first 2 weeks. It's like, yeah, but you lost like $100 million on that movie because it wasn't enough. Mulan, you made about $200 million. You need to make at least $500 million to break even. Didn't work. King of Staten Island, I mean, sheesh, that thing, I don't even think that thing even cracked 50 million. The only movie that went direct to streaming and actually made money was Bill and Ted 3. And the reason Bill and Ted 3 made money is because it only cost $20 million to make. There was almost no way you could lose money on that one. So, you know, and one of the things about like Mulan, for example, that was not mentioned is that people say, well, hey, they made $230 million going straight to demand. It's like, yeah, but a Disney movie typically makes 230 digital sales anyway because it's Disney. It just sells. So you skip the theaters, and basically all you did was you cut out a revenue stream. Like you cut out the money that it would have made in theaters and completely bypass that to make the money that you would have made anyway, even if it had been released in theaters. So, did you see Bill and Ted 3? Yes, and I actually went to see it in the drive-in theater because why not? Mark says, first time since 1944 there has been a full moon on Halloween. The freaks are out tonight in Vegas. Well, that's Vegas. Again, they don't seem to be out now. They're not out in my neighborhood. Or, I turned out almost all of the lights in the house, so maybe that's another reason, but yeah. So, they should have at least brought it to the red box. No, the red box. Well, the red box. Here's the thing: they're going to be releasing it on DVD and Blu-ray on I think December 10th or something like that. But the thing about it is, how should I put it? Redbox they make even less money on. Like they do set because what Redbox does is they buy. Excuse me. Oh, geez. Sorry. Just noticed that the rug. Huh. This rug's getting worn. Just dawned on me. Okay. Sorry, folks. Got distracted. So they make even less money on Redbox. I think Redbox will buy several discs of the film. Well, it depends on how many discs they put into each Redbox, but they buy the copy of the movie. But Disney's not getting a cut of that dollar rental. They're not. They're just making money from the sale of the disc itself. So, there's a lot of things that people think make the studios a lot of money, and they really don't. Truly theatrical is where they make the bulk of their money. So, like, if they make, like, let's say if Mulan makes like $300. I'm using simple math, of course. $300 on Redbox. Disney does not get a penny of that because Disney just paid for it up front, and then they got their money. If they made $300 in theaters, they would have got to have kept 290 of those dollars for the first week, and then like they would get less and less of the gross. But like that's how it works. The first weekend, the movie studios get 90% of the ticket sales. The second weekend, it gets 80%. And it goes all the way till it hits 60%. At one point, the theaters will be making 60% of the ticket sales. Now, usually the movie's done by that point and they've moved on. But then when you have something that sticks around for a long time, like Titanic or Avatar, both James Cameron movies, now I think about it, then the theaters are more inclined to keep it around because they make more money off the tickets. And so there you have it. So and even like streaming, like if they did premium video on demand with Google and Apple, they're giving up 30% of that revenue, which was why a lot of people thought it sounded like a great idea when it's like, oh, Mulan's going to go to Disney Plus and they get to keep all 30 of that dollars, except most people didn't do that. And in fact, so few people did it that within like a month they were putting it on Google and Apple anyway, defeating the whole purpose of even pretending that it was going to be a Disney Plus seller. Jody says, a lot of experts are saying Mulan should have been the movie of the year for Disney, but Disney being Disney, they screwed it up. Well, again, we're in a pandemic, but bigger picture, I mean, all the studios, and I'm really surprised the studios did not get together and have like a meeting. Because the studios should have had come together and had a meeting and say, okay, look, here's the thing. The only thing that's theaters back is if we have a succession of big movies that people want to see. We released one, then we release another one a couple weeks later, and so on and so forth. And each one that comes out will make a little bit more money because people are getting more and more comfortable going to the movie theaters. But we all have to agree to take a hit on this. So Warner Brothers, your sacrificial lamb is Tenet. Disney, it's Mulan. MGM, it's James Bond. Because here's the thing, Tenet was a little too quirky for its own good sometimes, I think. I never felt the word of mouth was going to be especially good for Tenet because it's just so confusing that it's kind of hard for people to get excited. But here's what they should have taken from Tenet. People who did go to see Tenet said they felt pretty comfortable going to the movie theaters. Like they were surprised at how comfortable they felt being at the movies. And so 2 weeks later, if Mulan had come out, maybe a few more people would have ventured out. And they would have commented that their experience at the movie theaters was, again, more pleasant. And they felt very safe. And then James Bond come out, the same thing would happen, so forth and so forth. But when Tenet was released, the lesson they took was we're not going to get our $1 billion for this. We have to pull it. Well, great, but if there's no movies, there's no movie theaters. And if there's no movie theaters, then you got to put this stuff on digital. And as the pandemic has proven, digital alone is not viable. It just absolutely is not. So a lot of dumb things were done here. I'm really surprised the studios did not get together and make up a plan, and they all had to agree, okay, we have to do this plan, and we have to get people comfortable going back to theaters, and we all have to acknowledge that we're all going to take a hit. Like, we're just going to take a hit. And we have to acknowledge it. Like, I couldn't understand, like, when Tenet underperformed, like, Greenland, a movie that cost $10 million, that was pulled from theaters and sent straight to premium. Well, why didn't you just leave that in theaters? Like, just to show that, hey, there's something new out there. But everyone handled this completely wrong, in my opinion. So, Ryan says, did you get Scoob on any physical format? And do you plan to get the complete Flintstones complete series on Blu-ray? I do have the complete Flintstones on Blu-ray. And I'm not getting Scoob on any physical format because the movie's not good. So, I didn't like that movie. If I was making a top 10 worst films of the year list, in fact, it would probably make that list. But I don't think it's really productive to make a top 10 worst films of the year list because no one's watching the movies anyway. So all this stuff is being sent to streaming where people are watching for free. I mean, why crap on it? Speaking of James Bond, I assume you heard that Sean Connery sadly died yesterday. I thought he had died today, actually, but yes, I did hear that, and that was definitely very sad. But hey, he's 90 years old. He lived a really good life. In fact, he did more than many of us have done in our lives, and he retired 20 years ago, so he actually got to enjoy the fruits of his labor. So good for him. Jody says, yet Disney doesn't seem to have their focus right at all. They act like they're more worried about all things Star Wars than anything else this year. Well, I don't know where you're getting that from. I mean, if you're talking about The Mandalorian, I mean, yeah, they're excited about The Mandalorian because it's going to Disney Plus, and Disney Plus is one of the only things that's working for them, so they can put something new on Disney Plus. And Mandalorian was the number one reason people subscribed to Disney Plus, and it's also the number one reason people canceled Disney Plus. So they're hoping a lot more people will subscribe for a couple months to watch The Mandalorian. That's what their thinking is. So, that's what it is. Let's see here. Did I miss anything? Let's see here. Uber in Tampa says, come to Pasco County and see the freaks. The ghetto birds is in the sky now. Nah, I don't need to. Like I said, don't like Halloween. Don't care about the freaks. Don't care about any of it. So let's see here. Oh, more people, Laura. Jim Barnes says more candy for you and the wife. Yeah. Well, yeah, we will be getting candy to tomorrow. When it's all, hey, Uber, what's up? Let's see here. Well, anyway, like I said, this was an impromptu live stream. I didn't have a whole lot to talk about, to be honest. Tomorrow night we might finally, I might finally do that. The pros and cons if Prop 22 doesn't pass. I'm hoping Dark Road One will join me for that. Have no idea if he will. If not, it'll just be me. But there you go. Brian says, I still remember you made how 95% of Disney Plus subscribers are feeling now that Mandalorian is over. Yeah, well, that was the thing. People, Disney Plus has like the worst churn rate out of all the streaming services. Like literally, people subscribe to watch something new, and then they cancel. That's probably why they moved Soul from theaters to Disney Plus, because the 1 year of free trials that from Verizon, which is like some 40 million people or something like that. I think it's more than that, but like a good chunk of Disney Plus subscribers got a year for free through Verizon, and that free trial is coming to an end in November. So by putting Soul on Disney Plus in December, they're hoping that those millions of people will not cancel for one more month. That's kind of what it is. I think they're wrong. I think a lot of them will cancel, and they're going to take a major, major bath on Soul as a result. Anyway, so this has been going on for almost 30 minutes, and again, didn't have a whole lot to talk about. But anyway, we'll try to do the Prop 22 video tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have company on that one. And then tune in Monday for one of the most bizarre videos I've ever made for this channel. And I guess we'll see if you like it. Anyway, you know the drill. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And if you celebrate Halloween, stay safe and quarantine for a couple weeks now. Have a good one.